think our team likes to do it individually. There hasn't been a set time where we did it together. Maybe at the tournament we'll get around to doing that. I think after all the training we've put in before coming to Poland, we're definitely confident going into our matches. IEM Katowice has always been a really awesome event. It's always been huge, a lot of fans, a lot of hype. And I think that this tournament will be really fun for us to play in. I think the stage is absolutely awesome, and it'll be an honor to perform here and play here. I think the biggest thing we can do to prepare ourselves for winning the tournament would be our draft preparation and executing those drafts accordingly. Currently, I think EU has the stronger scene until proven otherwise by this tournament. Just based on past results, BlizzCon most notably, and even Gold Club, Dignitas was able to take us out 2-0. So hopefully this tournament will change that around.
This is it. Fnatic are one game away from moving into the winners finals and qualifying for the top 4 of this event, really proving the dominance of Europe with 2 moving in. Tempo Storm, really a lot of people's fear that they may not be able to do this, but still considered possibly the greatest hope of North America. What do they do here? I mean, do they change things up?
I'm hoping they move to choosing the battleground, but that wasn't the case last time. I guess we'll just have to see.
Just one time, play your strength. Just play what you know out there. Grubby said it at the end of it when he was wrapping it up. Right now, we're going to go to Sky Temple. We talk oftentimes about Tempo's macro game in terms of rotations. They talk about it being a big strength of theirs, but I want to see them just put it out there. We've seen Gale Force and Tempo Storm both try stuff against Fnatic that's just not working. Try your best against their best and let it see where it lies.
Now, Judd, when we look at the maps left here, I mean, do you think this map pool is now a little bit better for Tempo with what's remaining, or is that even not a variable at this point?
Some of the maps are decent for Tempo Storm. Usually, like when it comes to smaller, they enjoy Braxis, and that's available Cursed as well. So if they were successful in Sky, I think the other maps aren't necessarily ones that I'm confident they'll win, but they're comforts for them at least, and that's enough. You know, maybe they have hope to turn around the series, but it's going to be map pick for Fnatic here. Going to Sky Temple. Tempo. Again, they aren't terrible at this map. It's going to be in the mid-tier, in my opinion, on how they played overall. But typically, they get out macroed pretty easily. Yeah. They're very comfortable with forfeiting a lot of objectives and structures with the idea that, well, eventually the Shrine will spawn and we'll get the fight. But a lot of teams, if they gain that structural advantage and manipulate the map effectively, Tempo almost never gets it.
We just generally see Tempo Storm on Sky a lot. It is a lesser-played battleground in HGC North America.
Falstad could be that first pick, still open here.
Probably going to be. It makes the most sense. There it is, the lock-in, it's a deny. Fnatic, do they respond with a Dahaka, though, is the real question. I feel like it's very much going to be the case.
I 100% agree with you. I think right now you risk getting it banned out against you if you don't pick it up early with the 2 picks before the first ban phase. But do they try and take a hold of the supports? With Malfurion being banned out, do you try and force Tempo into something else right now?
I personally wouldn't, but I also think I have a lot of faith in Lucio as a hero. I personally think that he will rise to the top of supporting directly behind Malf in the long run. I think he takes time to work with, and that might negate that in this tournament specifically, but I would feel comfortable letting that through and just getting the Lucio later.
Also, Brightwing. This is another one of Fnatic's Brightwing
Great
maps.
point, great point. Yeah, forget about the Brightwing.
So even if, they don't feel like Lucio is a possibility.
Out of all the remaining teams, I think Smexy may be the only one that has played more Brightwing than Rhaegar as like the second most played support forward player.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely fallen off a lot more. Even
for
like
Aquaface.
Yeah,
the one true Brightwing is kind of pulled away there from her as time has moved on. Now Tempo Storm, what do we expect from them in this rotation? Double Warrior's been removed, so 1 Warrior is going to be the priority. Is that going to be an ETC? Is it going to be something else like the Murden? And then past that point, are they afraid? Are they going to move into that Rhaegar this high up?
Zeratul still up?
Oh, I forgot about that. Zeratul, I think, is going to be a must.
Yeah.
But into a double warrior, it makes it so unappealing, especially into that variant.
So would you go Zeratul Tychus? I mean, that's leaving you with a pretty flimsy front line if you do that.
It's going to be Zeratul and their support. probably, with mouth
The
band.
Rhaegar, I think 100% in this rotation.
Yeah.
The Rhaegar, I think, is more important than anything just because the hard CC that's coming out on the side of Fnatic. Wow, they're going to let it go through. Okay.
We've seen June play a fair bit of Karazim, so
I mean,
Yeah, although not having cleanse, again,
That's true.
like Dread was
Oh,
saying,
yes,
with
that's
Barry and Dahaka is fairly terrifying. Smexing's just dancing on cam.
If I am Fnatic, I don't think they'll move this direction, but since we've been talking about the world of supporting, I would feel comfortable moving into a ban on Brightwing and picking Lucio in the next rotation. Actually taking it to work with the double melee to complement them, but then also making Brightwing, or excuse me, ban the Rhaegar, excuse me, based on the fact that Brightwing is just, even if she goes cleanse, she's absolutely terrible when it comes to burst healing and saving a target that's heavily CC'd. So you just bait one cleanse with Varian, next rotation, that's going to be a free pick.
is
No.
this
Um,
feels
Throwaway?
I mean, okay, so Murky can totally work in the event that like he doesn't have a strong solo laner to go against, but Dahaka absolutely obliterates Murky in lane.
It even could be not necessarily trolling, but just like
It's
we're not
throwaway.
scared of anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, I can tell you, when I've drafted in the past in a competitive tournament, I've had situations where I didn't want to remove anything that would have influenced this map specifically. Like, I felt I had the upper hand by just getting rid of a ban, and oftentimes that ban would either go to one of two heroes. It was either Abathur, just because he's kind of scary overall, like weird when he comes into play, and the other would just be the Murky. Abathur was considered more legitimate, but maybe Murky in this case. There's going to be a Greymane and the Rhaegar now for Fnatic.
Wolf boys?
Wolf Boys. A lot of follow-up there to the Varian, probably going to be the Cursed Bullet, and turns out Brightwing isn't necessarily the support you want to be able to make up for that huge opening.
Jay, how do you feel, buddy? What do you think about this?
My mind says Zeratul. My heart says if they're going to keep it weird, Valera might be something that you can use as a roaming tactic to try and control rotations, try and get picks.
They did let Zeratul through, but it is very unappealing into the Double Warrior. I don't like the Zeratul, but it does feel comfort, you know, and it's going to have a lot of control mixed with a Falstad.
I think Thrall would be their backup option at this point. It's kind of their fallback when it comes to melees when they try not to go with Zeratul. Thrall is generally the fallback for Psalm. Outside of that, I mean, they like you said before, they put a heavy emphasis on Zeratul in North America.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
The only other thing I was thinking is they picked Ragnaros once on Sky, and we still were waiting on Psalm's hero, but Zeratul and Karazim. So no cleanse now until cleansing touch at 16.
Risky, but definitely something we've seen June play a lot of. He does like the hero, very much on the Korean side of things where Karazim is prominent.
Yeah, and he could give movement speed still. He likes that movement speed talent. Sometimes at level 7, maybe that will make the difference.
I want to see a Li Ming or a Jaina as the last pick for Fnatic.
Li Ming was targeted by
Oh, I
Tempo?
forgot, yeah, the band up there. So I want to see
I
Jaina
know.
then. Sorry
I know
about
this is
that.
gonna sound crazy. Okay.
Were
good.
you going to
No.
guess that?
No.
Okay. I would have been like, you god.
Is only going to cripple even more the lack of cleanse before level 16. You know, with the patience that Tempo Storm had not picking the Rhaegar up in the 1-2 slot on their draft.
With that, Cursed Bullet, easy targets with all of that CC. Does anybody live through that?
No. Zeratul, no, nobody survives pre-16, I don't think. Maybe ETC, maybe. But as the game moves, and actually that would be at the 10 mark, so no, probably not. I don't think Karazim has the supporting either in a lot of the cases to be able to make up for that.
My question here when I look at this draft is like, how bold is Fnatic going to be? We already saw them run Bloodlust once. And this is a situation where Bloodlust Starfall looks really appealing, but Gust is such a safe and easy disengage for it. However, I wouldn't put it past Fnatic at this point. Like, I really wouldn't.
It seems kind of win-more-ish. Like, if they're already
Yeah.
just so ahead, they may just do it. But
Yeah.
then they have the backup of Ancestral if suddenly they are facing some issues from Tempo Storm.
We saw some priorities and rotations, I think particularly on Braxis, but that it was like a wide open lane. Zeratul's been the ultimate roamer in terms of getting picks, and with Falstad up there, you have the global, you have Dahaka up there. If Dahaka plays safe, I mean, you pretty much lose that Zeratul pick early game in terms of effectiveness. Do you have to get picks early? I mean, I feel like that's kind of been the high priority on the Zeratul is rotating between there, looking for that early pick, prioritizing the solo laner to forcing something off of that.
I mean, generally, yeah, that's going to be the strategy, and it does cripple Zeratul's early game pressure by the pressure of Fnatic.
Well, it is time for game number 3. Fnatic is up 2-0 over Tempo Storm. Take it away, Trixler and Grubby.
Well, here we go. Tempo Storm, if they are in fear of going down a loser's bracket, it is now time to turn on the Jets. My name is Trixler. Grubby, how you feeling about game number 3?
I'm feeling pretty fired up here for Fnatic's strategy. They've shown nearly flawless Heroes of the Storm play so far. And to be fair, they're smacking Tempo Storm around a bit. It's game number 3 of this best of 5 in the winner bracket. That's the winner bracket. There is a chance for whichever team drops to the lower bracket to still make it further in the tournament. But for now, Fnatic is looking dominant. And they're turning up the heat here. They're going with this big deletion comp. Charged with Varian, Lunar Flare, Tyrande. Keep in mind, Trixler, Tyrande was used last by Fnatic at an offline setting against MVP Black. They made it to BlizzCon finals with the Tyrande comp on Brax's holdout. They play a very mean one.
We'll see if it'll pay off for them. Definitely putting pressure on the Karazim, the lack of cleanse at level 7 for them. Fnatic now pressuring the bottom lane. Our two teams are now in a spot where they're grabbing experience. Tempo on the top, Fnatic in the bottom, and the rotations will start to occur for them. Tempo Storm, what do you think you have to do on your way to level 10? Do you do a bunch of bait and switching, making sure not to fight, out-rotating? Do you try to get engaged with Zeratul?
Yes.
How do you make this comp work early?
Yes, I think so. You can only take advantageous drafts here, advantageous fights, where you've got more members. That requires excellent map control, map vision. But it's very important not to take too many fights, especially when Fnatic is like this together. Look at this, Fnatic as 5. They're hunting so hard here for pickoffs. You cannot give it to them. Once you fall behind, you're in deep trouble. Now, Varian doesn't have level 4 yet, doesn't have the Warbringer 1-second stun. But once he gets that move that Psalm did there, that gets him killed.
Yep, the Warbringer goes in, Tyrande follows up with the Lunar Flare, you have the Hunter Mark, and you have Grey main damage up front, just amplified at that point, so level 4. This gets very scary for Tempo Storm. I do want to commend Fnatic and their rotations. They had Dahaka on the very top, they did a 5-man rotation in the middle, then they sent Dahaka bottom and brought 4 to the top. They're messing up the variation.
This is nice. Tempo Storm gets the first kill here. Very nice body blocking and isolation there on Varian. First blood to them and a far cry from game number 1 and 2 so far.
Yeah, and that allows Zeratul to run the top lane here and put pressure on Rhaegar. Rhaegar is forced to retreat away from that Temple Shrine, so they're able to get some pressure, a little bit more than you would expect from them, especially with this early composition from Fnatic. But level 4 is now here, Grubby, and this is the part where we start to shudder a little bit here for Tempo Storm.
Well, so far, Tempo Storm has not hidden in a corner. They're here to fight back. But they've got to be careful. Fury is here, trying to capture this shrine. There he goes in the activity radius of Breeze. Very well done with the face melt. You can actually interrupt the charge and the Warbringer and prevent the stun, but it requires quick reflexes. So far, Fury is up to the task.
Fury has ate his Cheerios this morning, making sure not to get hit by Varian. We're going to have our rotations from our teams here as it looks like Falset's already headed to the bottom. And now I think it's all about mercenary control. I feel like if the opposing team has really good upfront fighting, you need to try and grab your mercenaries before they get a chance to rotate on you. And that already started for some on the bottom right. The problem is Fnatic has brought 4 members to invade, and they have a very powerful invade.
Well, so far, Tempo Storm is denying experience. Bottom lane has been pushed, and all the minions are going to get lost by Fnatic. Fnatic continues to make big time sacrifices here. Make no mistake, you don't do 5 mans without a price. If you don't get the payoff, that's a wasted investment. You lose experience here and there, and it's starting to get noticed a little bit. Tempo Storm showed a very big sense of rationality here. Sacrifice the camp, clear it up, easy as saying 1, 2, 3 ABC, and they, in the meantime, are taking advantage of the lanes.
I like how Psalm moved on the mini-map. You didn't see it on screen, but on the mini-map, he went and checked the other left side to see if the opposing team would be rotating to grab the mercenary camps, which enables Tempo Storm to grab their own mercenaries. They rotate over, it's made the call, and now they can have that pressure on the top lane. They're on their way to level 10. The longer this game goes, with the least amount of kills going to Fnatic, the better situation Tempo Storm is in.
So far, this Tempo Storm feels completely different. They do get revealed here. They're starting to capture this early. They're a little bit worried. They don't have the vision of the watchtowers, so they're afraid of an invasion. They capture the Bruiser early. We'll start to work away at that. Karazim, Zeratul, ETC at the top. They're looking for a trap here on Dahaka.
Dahaka playing safe. Wubby, no stranger to being ganked. Wubby seems like the guy at Fnatic that just does what Wubby does. He sits in lanes, he plays safe, he understands that, you know what, if I miss a couple of minutes of experience, my team is okay with that. They are willing to roam S4. He plays safe there, doesn't get picked off. Heads up move by our Dahaka.
Coughlin Lock here, looking to defend. He's doing the similar treatment as Wubby. Decides to kind of stay back. Not going for some meaningless poke here, but really just being the gatekeeper to the keep. Meantime, Tempo Storm is doing a great job. They get the fort at the bottom. Once again, a trade, just like the level 1 phase. They'll continue to push on. Remember, they still have a bruiser count. Wubby
taking some damage. We'll get the drag on Kerosene, but he should be able to dash out there.
trying to pull a snitch there.
Not quite there. North America has learned. Don't lose someone underneath turrets. Wubby in the top left will help clear, especially with the aid of Smexy. But remember, these rotations are a little bit better for Tempo Storm. It's the best case scenario for when you're facing a kill comp to have rotations on forts and such. The problem is when you start to fall behind in terms of more infrastructure. And Tempo Storm just lost the fort in the middle. Quacknick's going for a pick on June, looking for him. June on the left will survive here. Fury on the right side trying to help, but Cattle suddenly in trouble. Kathan wants to help. Nice grenade from Cattle, but sadly, he will be taken out by the Gilning Cocktail. Quacknick is on the middle as well. Psalm comes in for some harassment, but it's not enough.
Yeah, it's small things here that are going in favor of Fnatic. First of all, they had the control of the lasers, of course. Even though Tempo Storm was able to push the top. Wow, yeah, I mean, they got level 10. No Gust yet. It might as well be now. Cursed Bullet does get picked up. Bloodlust, Cursed Bullet, and Starfall.
Wow, Bloodlust and Starfall. Starfall great for locking down a target, slowing them down. And of course, Bloodlust great for mowing down your opponents.
It's Hero League meta from 3 months ago. The Hyperion meta with Bloodlust and Earthquake. Here personified a little bit in the Tyrande-Rhaegar combination.
And it will be difficult for Tempo Storm to handle that pressure coming their way. Luckily, they do have tools. They have their Void Prison. They have the Palm here from June, and they also have the Mighty Gust. Tools to get away from those fights. If the lockdown's not there, Tempo Storm can escape. But for now, they have to focus on this boss, pushing their bottom lane. They do have solid damage for dealing with it. The Starfall comes out as well, though, to help out with the pressure. This prevents Tempo Storm from going for a hard engage, which allows Fnatic to continue the pressure forward. But Psalm is waiting in the shadows here on top of Wubby.
Wubby did see him. Psalm goes in with the blink and will immediately get taken out. Oh, that's a little embarrassing here. Trying to go for the epic Void Prison plays, trying to catch 3 to 4, but will just get deleted. Moved a little bit too slowly there.
In the back of my brain there, I just hear Caldor just cackling as he sees Fnatic turn that around so easily on Psalm. That was a very aggressive play. Obviously, Varian's going to turn around, go for that stun, and go for that taunt, which means you need to have your support there, which means you, as Zeratul, have the burden of making sure you can be near your Kerosene to come in with that Palm. Because again, with no cleanse being there, there's only Palm.
Zeratul always carries his burden alone, man. Feels bad. Of course, there's no cleanse available either, so it really is his own responsibility to get in, get out, and do whatever he needs to get done there.
Psalm playing with fire continuously. And the good news from that engage is he didn't burn Void Prison. Sometimes when you're in a spot where you are about to get picked off, you just freak out, you drop your Void Prison. He didn't panic ult, which is good overall. They save their keep. So now he has that ability available for the next engage around this temple in the middle. Falstead's in the bottom, pushing back the pressure that has already been occurring for Fnatic. Fury goes for the power slide, does miss out though on the opportunity. Void Prison comes out, Breeze being focused down. Can they kill him? The Starfall to slow down the members, and now we can have Smexy Bloodlust. He Bloodlust, they charge in, but the Mighty Gust comes out.
I mean, this is very scary. Breeze with Bloodlust. Pushing forward. 3-man mosh pit. No interrupt. Divine Poke comes out on ETC as well. That's a kill on Varian here.
Tom gets dragged though. June on the right. He's trying to survive, and Fnatic doesn't mind. Quacknick is going off here. He is yet to be touched in this fight. Going for the protein. At the same time, Cattle on the right is trying to deal with Schwimpy. Schwimpy trading just fine. Wubby sharking around for a takedown, and that's going to be a 3-for-1 trade, almost 4-for-1, but Cattle will be able to escape.
Tychus and Falstad survive. It started out really well. It was a 2-man Void Prison isolation on Varian, but it took a little bit too long, didn't it, Trick?
It did. Slightly too long to get those kills. And of course, Greymane in the back, which is working in auto attacks, didn't mind. No pressure coming his way, waiting for everything to fall apart.
Working in auto attacks?
Yes, working in auto attacks. Eventually, that Bloodlust hits him and he's able to just move on in for the fight after all the heroics have been burned. 13-11, Fnatic starting to be in a really solid spot as they are shelling away on the bottom keep.
Ah, that's a lot of shots still available. That's a keep down already. Tempo Storm is feeling the squeeze. This is a winner bracket match, but they're down 0-2. There's a keep down, and they're gonna start to move in. They get the bruiser cap, they start to push, and they hope that between the next wave and 2 towers, they can get level 13. No, they're not gonna be able to. They don't dare.
Yeah.
They move back too early for what it's worth, as the siege camp was still being taken, but they didn't know that, did they?
Crew joins in the middle lane. It's come to a point where False has started joining in the fight.
Yeah.
You know, that's normally a situation where teams are starting to panic a little bit and they need all 5 members so they don't get any engages. Cursed Bullet will whiz on by. Saw him on the left. There will be the drag. Taunt has been used. Same time down by 13 seconds. There's the engage. Starfall coming out at the same point. Toronto will get a little bit of poke in, but if Tempo Storm can't escape this, that's a win for them. A lot of heroics being used, and they're still 3 levels away from the important moment, level 16.
Well, Cursed Bullet missed. It's going to be back in 7 seconds. It's that kind of ability.
That cooldown.
Yeah.
Li Ming right there with all those cooldowns.
Well, there we go. Cursed Bullet available once again. No. Void Prison is going to be the major linchpin of the strategy here for Tempo Storm, but they must find an opportunity. And opportunities are created by doing the unexpected and by providing distractions. So far, there are none. Sentinel reveals the map. No bruiser camp has been taken yet for Tempo Storm. They're looking for an opportunity while showing at mid.
I like what you say there. Opportunities are presented by surprising your opponent. But that's something that Tempo Storm never does, which I think would give them more of a surprise factor if they actually did move into that route. However, they're doing the safe approach. They understand that getting to 16 is their best way to approach winning this game. The problem is Chthon could be in trouble. Breeze going in for the Warbringer. There is the taunt. Greymane slashes once, and we no longer have Falstad on the battleground.
Yeah, and you know, he could not have reacted fast enough because Varian looped around the top side. Even if he power rolled, he would have been interrupted halfway. The moment he was there with the setup that happened, he was dead in the water. And the thing is, you know, Fnatic creates these opportunities all the time. They thrive on these kind of moves. They may not say, okay, let's go for the core now. They're not that kind of team, but these kind of 2-man actions is what they've been practicing for years. Wow! The max range drag tongue here on Tychus. Divine Palm will get procced, but will he be able to get away in the aftermath?
Starfall comes out, Void Prison's being used, Falset's flying in, will be able to Mighty Gust to save the Tychus. No, he will not be able to. Greymane in the back right, putting damage to Psalm, and Tempo Storm needs to escape. They need to get away from these 5 members, but they have a boss pushing in on their core as well. Big totem coming out.
Fury's been playing real straight up, doing the face melts to interrupt all kinds of things, but that was about as much as he had in his bag of tricks. Fnatic with the 2-0 is moving for the core.
The core being focused down. I don't know if they can hold this. There's no Void Prison, no Mighty Gust, no heroics that could help out. Another member falls for the Tempo Storm. Core is down to 30%, and Fnatic will finish the series 3-0 over Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm falls down to the losers bracket, but huge congratulations to Fnatic. They have looked dominant throughout this tournament.
Yeah, a resounding success here for Fnatic. They came in here with brimming with confidence, with a quiet confidence that we have rarely seen from them here at an offline tournament. They're moving forward into that winner bracket finals, leaving behind Tempo Storm.
The preparation, the determination, the trash talk the last couple of weeks, it's all working out here for Fnatic as they have their eyes on the main prize. Now, obviously, there is another team in this tournament, Misfits, that have been doing so well that they'll have to face off against next. But still, we have our losers bracket coming up soon here. Tempo Storm has a chance to make it through this tournament as well with the other teams that are already hanging out down there. So we'll watch both these teams. They progress through our tournaments, but a solid series overall. Fnatic, man, I'm just impressed.
And what happens with Tempo Storm, Trixler, is what is going to define them as a team at this tournament. You can go 2 ways from here. You just suffered probably the most devastating or the most decided loss of your career. You can either say, well, we can't experience any worse in this tournament. It's all upwards from here. These were probably the best team that we were going to face at this tournament, and it can only get better from here. We're going to learn from it. On the other hand, even suffering a crushing defeat against such a strong favorite, it can also leave you down in the dumps. So what they are going to do with their mentality as a team is going to define them.
Well, let's go to our winner interview with Red Eye at the front stage.
Yes, thank you very much. Congrats, Fnatic safely through. with yet another dominant performance. Was that a better performance today than it was yesterday? How do you rank the two?
Yeah, I think from our side especially, like we played better today and managed to get the draft we wanted, which made us look stronger because we just had cleaner games since we got straight up what we wanted, and then it was just about playing our game.
Yeah, you mixed it up as well across the 3 games. What was the thought on that? Were you thinking we're pretty comfortable, so we're going to play some things we haven't shown so far? You brought the Lucio out, for instance, in game 2.
Sorry.
The Lucio in game 2.
Oh yeah, that's just something that in that situation, obviously Malfurion's already gone because we first banned it, and then if they pick Rehgar, it will be our backup plan, and it doesn't matter that we doesn't have cleanse and so on because we have Medivh to cover up the all-in and so on. So the only thing we have to care for when picking the Lucio there is the mosh pit. But other than that, his healing is outstanding, especially when you pair him with something.
Yeah, almost a surprise we haven't seen more of him so far. Are you equally surprised?
Not really.
People are being cagey with him, I guess. Was there anything about it? There was a bit of a strange draft from Tempo Storm in game 1. Did that catch you out at all? Were you thinking, maybe they've got something different up their sleeve?
I mean, obviously, we get a little bit surprised when they picked the Asmodon, but it's not like it's something that we've never seen before. In fact, we have even played versus similar drafts since Expert in Europe plays a lot of weird stuff, like especially stuff like that. So it was just about adapting in the game because no matter what, we feel we have the way stronger comp, and the only thing that is scary about it is if they manage to get split push going that we can't deal with, so they get bell towers. But we're the ones running the map, we're the ones controlling the map. So the moment we saw that they're just gonna try to stall their side, we don't care about it. We're just looking for other stuff.
Seemed very straightforward today. Obviously looking forward now to the upper bracket final. Misfits also came through this morning, very straightforward. They had a much tougher game yesterday, though. Do you take anything from what you've seen from them and maybe exploit some weaknesses in their play?
It's the same. The thing with Misfits is that we have played a lot of our strategies versus them in scrims. But I still think that we have a lot to offer still, so I don't think it will matter as long as we get good drafts and we have a good day. I don't think it will matter because I think we're the stronger team as of today.
Okay, well, you've certainly shown that. And I guess because the games have been easier for you, you've been able to hold back a few things. So maybe a few more tricks tomorrow?
Probably. We still have some stuff up our sleeves, but we'll see if it fits or so on because, Misfits probably will have even if they don't know what's coming, they still will have a better guessing about what could come than NA because, all the practice versus them still shows them kind of the style and so on. But, I think we're good.
Yeah, and in terms of the NA versus EU, we've been talking about the story all weekend. We've been having some fun with the banter online. But when it comes to the games, so far, Europe has dominated those matches. Do you see that changing at all in the lower bracket? Dignitas obviously have dropped down.
I'm not sure. I still think that EU has the upper hand. I'm not going to trash talk them this time. I'm sorry. I still think just EU has the upper hand. So if they play their game and NA can't surprise either of the 3 EU teams that are at this event, I don't think they should win on paper and how it have been looking. So I really just think that if they want to pull a series out, especially now that it's BO5, they really have to come up with something unique.
All right, well, congratulations. We'll see you in the upper bracket final. Fnatic are safely through to that game against Misfits tomorrow. We've got our 2 lower bracket games ahead of us, but let's catch up with the analyst panel, find out what they made of our second semi-final in the upper bracket.
Yeah, I think Quack nailed it on the head there. We really just saw them go through, super confident, played their game. And of course, they are the only team left in this tournament that has yet to drop a single map.
Yeah, and that puts Misfits and Fnatic in the top 4 of the Western Clash, our first Western Clash, but also Misfits versus Fnatic as the winners finals. I cannot wait for that match.
Yeah, so let's rewind to this game, though, because we did see, another crazy style. We do see the Rehgar Tyrande sometimes, but it really looks strong there.
It did. The minute they wanted to turn it on, and it goes further than that. Dread and I were talking about the game. He brought up a good point, is that it was when they were capturing the boss right around 10. You're like, all they have to do is push in with this, and it can stretch their lead. If you needed to zone it out, we saw the Starfall come down. They ended up taking down that bottom keep wall. The very next temple phase took down the keep, things like that.
Looking at this fight, this was actually the first moment where it looked good until the Bloodlust comes in. The Gust is the zoning, and for a moment, Tempo kind of questions whether or not they can make a play as Breeze moves in, and they do end up getting this huge mosh pit, which was amazing. Great palm coming out from June, but everybody's health bars is so low that even 4 versus 5, Fnatic just completely turns this fight.
I was proud of Fury in that moment, that they recognized there's no getting out of this. At this point, he dove right back in. Karazim was there to help out too. So the struggle was that they'd already taken so much damage off of that Jake.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at these fights in general, we saw they had both those oh crap buttons, really, where you have the Void Prison and you have the Mighty Gust. But it never felt like it was enough when you just had the hard engage of Starfall and then the Bloodlust after one of those has expired. I mean, how do you combat that?
So it's actually really hard. It is possible though. So Tempo did a lot of really right things when it comes to not taking the skirmish directly until you hit the 10 mark. The most important thing though, once you hit post 10, is you're the one starting the fight. That is the absolute most important thing. Every single time you let that composition try to start the fight, it will force cooldowns on your end, which are not going to be existing, and the next time they get the right engage. So you open up directly, and you try and take advantage of the fact that they have Rhaegar and they have Tyrande. Tyrande's going to be very vulnerable, especially pre-13. You try and zone her, look for the kill there, and suddenly it removes that power after the team fight actually is finished. But Tempo obviously was, again, you saw right there, they kind of try an initiation, and then they get the Gust because they're afraid of the Bloodlust. They have to be effective with that Void, and we didn't really get to see it. And then at that point, they were so far behind. Sky Temple, it's just a bomb. You know, it's a time bomb. If you get the lead and you get the XP lead, you're going to win the game unless you make a major mistake.
You know, Jay, when we look at all three of those games, and we think about Tempo Storm throughout their season this year, do you feel like you were looking at the same team?
No, I think that anybody can see that. The first two games, they tried to mix it up, do something a little bit different, and it didn't work for them. I mean, we saw the exact same thing out of Gale Force, which was surprising to me that both teams opted to just come in. I mean, Fnatic's known, again, we talked about it, known for having a little bit different drafts than the current meta. They have their own. And so you come in, you have strategies developed for them specifically that just don't pan out. And so Tempo Storm has an opportunity to come back into this, and I think that they have an opportunity to show their true colors, because yesterday they looked good, today they looked a little bit shaky.
Well, Tempo Storm, they are still in the lower bracket, which is about to begin. In just a few moments, we will return, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In the beginning. Wait a minute, that's not... Hold on. In our most desperate hour. Whoops! No, way too far. The Nexus! The marvelous anomaly to which the Bronze Dragonflight has sent me as their champion! Oh, hello again. Or is this the first time we've met? You might ask why, as a dragon, would I choose to be this size? Meh, it just works for me. I'm here to keep the very fabric of time and space from unraveling like that. Everyone knows it's not possible to be in several places at the same time. The past you, future you, and future super creepy you? That's different times at the same place, and that's when it gets fun! Don't worry, that's gonna get nerfed. Let's review. Through all time and space, there's more power hidden in the smallest things than you will ever know.
Nexus. Destroy it. Pitiful fool. This realm holds more power than I've ever dreamed of. And it will be mine. For I know the truth. In the end, everything will burn.
Experience has taught the Protoss that when we do not fight together, we die alone. But we shall not see defeat this day. For we stand as one. Our differences will not divide us, but make us stronger. Together, we will defend the Nexus with honor and earn our glory. I am Hierarch Artanis, leader of all Protoss. And in unity, there is strength.
The pathetic wretches of this new realm already fear me. They should. So many souls for me to harvest. And I shall begin with theirs. This Nexus, all its power, it will be mine! Those who oppose me invite their own demise. If the two of us have learned anything fighting fools like these before, it's that when we work as one, none can stand against us. We are Shogun!